Well, welcome everybody to the Get Healthy webinar tonight. I am super excited to have an amazing practitioner with us this evening, Dr. Elena Villanueva, who is the founder of BioOne Sciences, which is a company that set out for a new approach in the supplement industry. They really saw a lot of the issues with how supplements were created, how raw ingredients were sourced, and well, she just decided that she was going to do it the right way. So, Dr. Elena, I'm so excited that you're here. Before we get into your amazing webinar, we're going to be talking tonight about gut healing protocols and identifying the missing link in GI dysfunction. We did a big webinar on the GI map the last week. So I think the people that are here are probably ready to hear the solutions that BioOne Sciences offers. Just to remind everybody, if you signed up for this webinar, you will get the recorded playback. In addition, our next webinar will be June 10th at 12 Eastern. So if you can tune into that, that'll be our friends Biocanic. We will be talking to them about the solutions for your patient management care. And don't forget to tune into our Holistic Growth podcast. I'm Dr. Tracy. I'll be your co-host tonight. But Dr. Elena, could you give us a brief introduction about who you are? And then I'm going to let you take over with your incredible presentations.
Awesome, thank you. Hey everyone, Dr. Elena Villanueva here, and I'm super excited to talk to you about something that you probably have not heard before. And the reason I say that is because when I get up and speak on stages, both nationally and internationally, and I get up in front of functional medicine doctors, I bring up something that we're going to be talking about tonight, and most doctors have never heard this concept before, and it makes 100% complete sense to them once they hear it. So I'm super excited to be talking to you. I've been in practice over 20 years. I started out in sports medicine, went into functional medicine a little over a decade ago, and I, like Dr. Tracy Stroop said, I did start a supplement company. We actually launched BioOne Sciences in like 2021, 2022, about 2021 actually, and we started testing it in the field. We knew it was going to work because previous to BioOne Sciences being founded, we were combining multiple supplements at very specific dosing ranges to see what kind of consistent results that we could get. What we did with BioOne is we reduced the number of bottles that are needed because that is a huge problem in the supplement industry. It's the model of the supplement industry. They want you to buy more bottles. And I decided that I had enough of that. And apparently so have a lot of practitioners because a lot of them are now adopting BioOne Sciences into their clinical protocols. And it's one of the fastest growing supplement companies out there right now. So let's get over to our presentation and let's talk about why gut healing protocols often fail, and how to achieve lasting results. So let me just do a quick screen share here. And Tracy, if you could just confirm that you see this.
Yep, looks great. I can see it.
Perfect. All right. So before we get into this, I want to ask you a question. And Tracy, if you could let me know how many hands raise. I know a lot of people are watching the replay, but let's just see how many hands raised from these questions. How many of you have been taught to do gut repair first before you do detox or really anything else? Raise your hand or put a 3 in the chat box. Put a 3 in the chat box. So typically the answer that we get are everybody raises their hand, or a large percentage of them do. You see, we've all been taught to do gut healing protocols first. But that leads me to my next question. All of these years, for those of us who have been doing gut healing protocols first, how many of you have noticed that when you stop the gut healing protocol, the symptomology comes right back? Put a 2 in the chat box. Put a 2 in the chat box if that's the case. So most people follow with this question and they are putting a 2 in the chat box because they will get an abatement or a big reduction in symptoms when they do the gut healing protocols. But as soon as they stop the gut healing protocols, the symptomology comes back. Why is that? Well, we're going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and let's get into our presentation. Why do so many gut protocols fail, even when the patients are doing everything right? Patients are on huge protocols, oftentimes with no long-term structural change in the GI function once the GI supplementation is stopped. And this does create frustration, not just amongst the patient who is having to make a lot of dietary changes and take a lot of supplement protocol and take a lot of supplements rather for their gut and for everything else that you're putting them on for. But it becomes unsustainable for the practitioner as well. And the symptoms keep returning. So what do we do about that? Well, I want us tonight to consider toxins as the root cause of why so many gut protocols are failing, even when the patient's doing everything right, even when you're using the best protocols that are out there. You see, if environmental toxins drive dysbiosis, which they do, there's a plethora of published research on this, then why are we doing gut repair before we do detoxification? So here are us tonight. Anne could not be here. She was working with a new functional medicine practice in another state today, a medical doctor who's very excited about implementing the BioOne protocols, and the flights got canceled today, so she will not be on the call. So let's understand a little bit more about toxic load and its influence on gut health. So what is toxic load, first of all? Let's do a quick definition so that we're all on the same page. Toxic load is the critical point where the body's natural detox pathways, like the liver, the gut, and the kidneys, for example, become overwhelmed, creating a slow, silent storm of systemic inflammation, which then causes a domino effect of all of the other systemic engines in the body not working properly, right? So let's take a look at mycotoxins, for example. We know that mycotoxins induced very robust GI biofilm formation, leading to severe intestinal permeability, nutrient malabsorption, and it's creating an ideal environment for parasites and other infections to thrive. So downstream, they impair mucosal immunity, and they're strongly linked to neurodegenerative and psychiatric disorders. Now, when we look at environmental chemicals, compounds like BPA, 2,4-D, which is still used in our environment, unfortunately, even though it's been banned, and glyphosate, for example, they act as very aggressive microbiome disruptors, with glyphosate specifically driving dysbiosis by functioning as a patented antibiotic in the gut lumen, while also inducing colonic oxidative stress and damaging intestinal tight junctions, ultimately driving systemic inflammation. So when we're looking at chemicals overall, no matter what classification of chemicals they are, they cause a host of multiple different downstream effects on multiple different systemic engines in the body, including causing a lot of dysbiosis in the GI tract. Now let's move over to the heavy metals. Heavy metals support pathogenic biofilm while systematically hijacking endocrine receptors, contributing to chronic immune dysregulation and metabolic disease. So we know that heavy metals also cause issues directly on the GI. So the gut toxin connection is this, that toxins damage intestinal tight junctions, causing chronic gut dysfunction that is deeply intertwined with these environmental exposures. Industrial chemicals, for example, they alter the microbiome composition, favoring pathogenic overgrowth. Mycotoxins, as we mentioned before, they impair mucosal immune function, they create a ton of biofilm, and they inhibit secretory IgA production. And pesticides drive aggressive dysbiosis by functioning as patented antibiotics in the gut lumen. And so it's really important for us to make these connections, because if we are doing gut repair first, and we have not reduced the toxic load, we are not going to get long-term sustainable gut repair. Now, am I saying that we should never address the gut first? No, I'm not saying that. Sometimes patients will come to us and they have severe GI issues, maybe with GI bleeds, or maybe they have, just super, super severe stuff. We've seen that where they're going in and out of the hospital. By the time they come see us, they've been in the hospital a dozen times over 4 months. They are now on corticosteroids and, other medications, and they're literally getting worse. And they are scared because they can feel their vitality fading. We will stabilize their GI first. We will triage and we'll stabilize it, but we're stabilizing it. We're not going to be able to fix it until we go deeper into the deeper root cause, which I can tell you right now, over 95% of the time, environmental chemical toxins are going to be at the deepest root cause. 70 to 75% of the time, it's going to be mycotoxins, and 20 to 25% of the time, it's going to be heavy metals. And most of the time, you're finding a combination of all of these as the deeper root cause of not just the GI issues, but the autoimmune issues, the chronic inflammation, the hormone imbalance, the endocrine dysfunction, the mental health issues. You're finding it like the same root causes are rooted in environmental toxicity. So let's take a look at traditional detox versus a little different approach. So the traditional approach is we do gut repair protocols first. We already mentioned that, right? And we're not doing any in-depth toxin labs to uncover the most common root causes, the most common denominators of this dysbiosis and all of their other symptomology that they have. And the patient will feel a little better while they're on the gut repair protocol, but there's no long-term sustained healing of the GI. And when they stop the protocol, the symptomology comes back. Now they have less trust in you and less trust in functional medicine. And we can change that, right? So the root cause approach, or a different root cause approach, is going to be to understand that the common denominators are lying in environmental toxicity. And we want to not only do a GI map, but we also want to do comprehensive toxin panels where we're looking at environmental chemical toxins, mycotoxins, and heavy metals. And then once we verify that we have that, which 95% of the time you're going to find that this is the common denominator as to why they're having GI issues and all their other issues, then we want to use protocols. We want to implement protocols that are focused on eliminating the chemicals, the plastics, the mold, and the heavy metals so that we can bring long-term healing to the dysbiosis and the other GI issues. Does that make sense? And we want our protocols to be less bottles, not more. We don't need a protocol for mold and then a separate protocol for metals and then a separate protocol for chemicals. Don't need it. And that's not what this webinar is about. But if you are interested in learning more about that, you can reach out to BioOne Sciences. If you would like Get Healthy to do a webinar on that, you just let them know and I'll be here for you. So we can do it however you want to do it. And then once we are able to sustain a 70 to 80% reduction in toxic load, I guarantee you that by that point, when you retest the GI map, you're already going to see improvement in the GI functionality. You're going to see you're going to see improvement in markers showing leaky gut, improvement in markers showing inflammation. You're going to see improvement already. Then when you go in and you do the gut repair and you redo the GI again, then you're going to see really great repair, and it's going to be longer lasting and sustaining, and you're only going to need to do the gut repair for about 8 weeks. All right, so let's take a look under the hood using precision diagnostics, and let's start with the GI map analysis. We like the GI map as one of the tools that we can use because it's giving us quantitative DNA-based stool analysis for precise detection of pathogens, commensal bacteria, and crucial GI health markers. But we don't want to forget about the tox panel that I mentioned just a minute ago. We want to uncover the hidden load by doing a comprehensive screening for mycotoxins, environmental chemicals, and heavy metals that are driving these systemic issues in the GI tract and the rest of the body. And by pairing the GI map results with environmental toxin assessments, we can bypass the symptom chasing and we can actually get long-term sustainable results with our patients. All right, so what are some of the indicators in the GI map that we like looking at whenever we order it? There's a lot of markers in there, and of course we look at everything, but some of the big ones are the zonulin. It's the leaky gut marker. It's the primary protein marker for increased intestinal permeability. Elevated levels indicate the physical breakdown of the tight junctions. So when you have elevated levels of zonulin, that's telling us that we have leaky gut. Then we have the calprotectin, which is an inflammation indicator. It's a highly sensitive marker of intestinal inflammation, crucial for differentiating between inflammatory bowel states and functional disorders. And then you have beta-glucuronidase, which is a dysbiosis enzyme that signals significant microbial imbalance. So high levels are going to indicate a dangerous recirculation of estrogens and previously neutralized toxins. If these markers are repeatedly elevated on your patient's GI map, despite being on a gut repair protocol, dig deeper and look for toxicity as the root cause. Now, what I would start doing starting tomorrow is don't order GI maps by themselves anymore. Order your GI map along with environmental toxins so that you can really understand what's going on. All right, case study. 47-year-old female on gut protocols for many years. She presented with severe fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, gas, bloating, alternating stools, and a history of returning parasitic infections. So in her toxin testing, it revealed multiple mycotoxins, chemicals, including 2-Hib, PGO, and perchlorate. And by the time that she had come to see us, she had been on gut protocols for quite some time, and every time she would stop them, she would get worse. So we took a look, and as you can see here, we found high levels of H. pylori. We found other markers that were also showing high, and we put her through our protocols, and you can see the before and after here. So here's the before and after. There you can see we eliminated the H. pylori and beta-glucuronidase went back into normal range. And then here you can see that she also had some other dysbiotic overgrowth of bacteria, and you can see the vast improvement that she had. She had a really big improvement in the bacillus. We were still working on it, but she had a huge improvement. The enterococcus went back into normal range. The Pseudomonas and the Streptococcus also went back into normal range. What we did was we put her on our detoxification and restoration protocol. Research shows that when you are on the proper protocol, that you will have a 30% reduction in overall environmental toxic load after 6 months, and you'll have an 80% overall reduction in environmental toxic load after month 10. And so if you have done environmental toxins before and you were afraid to retest, or you retested and didn't see the results that you were looking for, and you were past the 10-month mark, I invite you that this is another reason to give BioOne Sciences a try and check out what it is that we're doing, because what we're doing, no one else in the industry is doing, unless they're copying our formulations. All right. Case study, 47-year-old female on gut protocols for many years. Again, this is super common. I'm sure many of you have seen this coming into your office. And when the standard gut protocols failed to eliminate the patient's symptoms, she came to us and we did some additional testing. So we did an updated gut study on her, but we also did toxin testing, which revealed markedly elevated levels of mycotoxins and chemical toxins, which were driving her dysbiosis in the first place. And so we understood when we saw this and we explained this to the patient that it was physically impossible for her gut protocols to yield a really true gut repair for her while she was actively being damaged by the circulating toxins. So we had to remove the toxins first. Here's yet another case study, a 57-year-old female who presented to our clinic after 20 plus years of symptoms. And this patient, had severe brain fog, anxiety, food sensitivities, skin rashes, and the toxin testing showed mycotoxins, chemicals, thallium, and the GI map revealed several co-infections. And so you can see here her before and after. Her initial testing was done in August, and then we retested her just a few months later, and it already had come down. We oftentimes can see a reduction of toxins by the end of month 3. So we started her, and she actually had some really quick results. And then you can also see the before and after on her GI map as well. The E. coli was gone. And this is the symptom sheet of this particular 57-year-old female. So she had very quick improvements once she started the 12-month detoxification protocol, which, by the way, the detoxification protocol is so uniquely designed because it is supporting the nervous system, the cardiovascular system, it is supporting brain chemistry, it is supporting the reduction of inflammation, and it's supporting the GI system in its healing before you ever even fully get into gut repair. So we really have combined some very unique ingredients in our formulations so that our detox protocols detox all environmental toxins in one protocol, all of them, plastics, chemicals, metals, mold, and we've even seen a huge reduction every single time in radioactive materials. But that's not the coolest thing about it, is that we've been able to do all environmental toxins in one protocol, where it's chelating, binding, and excreting the toxins, but it's also providing ingredients that support and regenerate cells, tissues, and DNA. So essentially, we're supporting and regenerating all of the systemic engines in the body while we are detoxing at the same time. In very few bottles, it'll blow your mind. Right? And so take a look at her symptom sheet. It's pretty amazing changes. All right. So the BioOne Sciences integrated strategy, let's just talk about that for a minute, because we have very strategically over the years, remember that BioOne Sciences was developed in the field. It was developed by practitioners for practitioners. People that are in the field doing the work, we know what's working and we know what's not. And we know what's sustainable and what's not, and we know what's consistent and what's not, right? And so our sequential approach really works over 90% of the time. And we have clinical support for anybody who has questions, if you're working with a case and you're not sure what to do, if you're just getting started. But we want to reduce the toxin load first. We want to strategically test for, identify, and eliminate environmental toxic exposures. We want to then regenerate and support the systemic engines, which is what the detox and regenerative protocol for the detoxification actually includes, all of that in one protocol, excuse me. Also, our protocols were designed very much so to reduce Herxheimer responses. And so we're super, super proud of that. People that tend to have the most toxic load tend to have the most severe Herxheimer reactions. And over the years, we were able to figure out how to reduce that with our patients. Again, it's all about building trust and getting results with them. Once you do that, they'll stay with you forever, right? For their wellness care and everything else. And then finally, we want to go in and do the gut repair by reestablishing the mucosal barrier, modulating local immunity, and recolonizing the microbiome. So, what are the targeted solutions for detoxification? We have MCM Detox Plus, which is a comprehensive chelator binder, and it also simultaneously supports regeneration of cells, tissues, and DNA. And when I say that, that includes mitochondria as well. It's in one formula, 6 capsules a day, with or without food. So that's another big problem that I saw as a clinician, that, binders having to be taken in between meals and in between other supplements. People are not going to be compliant with that. It's hard for them to do that. They already don't feel good. Why are you going to ask them to take these things 3 times a day with food and then these other things twice a day in between food? It just doesn't make sense, and it's costing them more money, and it's more complicated. So it's going to drive down compliance and drive down results. So MCM Detox combines some pretty amazing ingredients. I encourage you to go take a look online at bio1sciences.com so that you can see what's in it. We have a clinical PDF for every single supplement. And so, like I said, it's 2 pills 3 times a day, with or without meals. Doesn't matter, right? And it's going to work. Liver GB Detox Complete provides critical dual phase support for hepatic toxin clearance and optimal bile flow and gut support. We actually have probiotic in there as well. And so this is a very unique formulation. I encourage you to go take a look at that too. And then we have TCG Activation, which is a liquid humic fulvic supplement, which, as you probably already know, it's great for cellular level detoxification. It does not get out plastics and some chemicals, by the way, just so you know. And it's great for mineral replenishment and gentle gut lining repair. And then our X microbe, again, this is another very unique, one of a kind formulation. I encourage you to go check it out. Go look at the PDF on this. I think it's going to blow you away when you see what it's doing. But this is a broad spectrum antimicrobial blend that not only targets pathogenic bacteria, fungi, viruses, and parasites, but it regulates and modulates immune responses. It supports cardiovascular health. It prevents spike protein buildup and breaks down any spike protein that's already there. It can help regulate blood pressure and circulation in the body, and it down regulates the nervous system. I don't know how many of you know this or recognize this in your own patients, but when you are putting them on antimicrobials and they have die-off, they can have a lot of reactions from the endotoxins from that die-off. One of them being increased anxiety and mind racing and inability to sleep well. So we incorporated Chinese skullcap into our formulation, and patients love it. They love it. They sleep well. It's down regulating their nervous system. And it's very, very gentle and beneficial gut flora as well. So we absolutely love this formulation. And it can also be used long-term in very small doses in place of low-dose naltrexone. So again, we have recordings on every one of our formulations that when you sign up as a BioOne Sciences practitioner, you can ask for the recordings. And then we have a lot of clinical information. So yeah, X microbe is really, really amazing. It can be used at different doses for different indications. And then we get into our gut support formulation. So remember that we advise and we teach to do toxin load reduction and regeneration for 10 months. And then month 11 and 12, you finish up with the gut repair for 8 weeks. And we have a really great probiotic that's spore-based. It's designed to survive gastric acid so that it can colonize the GI effectively. And it really promotes microbial diversity and immune balance. We love our probiotic that we've put together. And then we have complete GI activation S. So instead of using an L-glutamine formula, we have designed a formulation that is glutamine free. Some people will ask, why did you do an L-glutamine free formulation? We did that because through the years, we have noticed that many people have issues with certain genetic SNPs that make it hard for them to convert the L-glutamine properly, and it ends up causing anxiety and mind racing. If you have ever put a patient on gut repair that has L-glutamine in it, and they came back to you in the next visit or even a couple of days later and say, oh my God, I've started having anxiety and mind racing and I can't sleep, or I'm having like major ADD, like something's going on, it's the L-glutamine, and it's very likely in their genetics. And so what we did, until we're ready to come out with another option formulation, we have ours that is L-glutamine free, and it works very well. You can go onto our website and you can check it out. Our clinical data shows very predictable success, showing after 10 months, or at the 10-month mark, at the 9 or 10-month mark of doing detoxification using the BioOne Sciences protocols, that we have an overall 80% reduction in toxic load. It's very consistent. As a matter of fact, we teach our practitioners to retest toxins at month 5 or 6, and then depending on how fast that they're reducing their toxic load, to do a final retest at month 9 or 10. We want you to use an evidence-based approach, and for our practitioners who are doing that, we are including you in our data collection for publication. So you'll get to be published alongside our other practitioners that are also collecting this data and sharing it with BioOne Sciences. So super excited to share that. So what are the consequences of ignoring the toxic load? You are not addressing the biofilm that is potentially in there. A lot of people do have mold in their body. About 75% of people that you'll test will have mold in their body. And we know that mold really, causes a lot of biofilm issue. And it tends to go hand in hand with heavy metals as well. You're going to be fighting an uphill battle also with immune dysregulation. You're going to be fighting a very big uphill battle with that. I want to go back to the biofilm. A lot of times we used to put people on biofilm busters, sometimes, 2 different biofilm busters. Our detox and regeneration protocols, our synergistic ingredients include biofilm busters. So we're taking care of that. As we bust up the biofilm and get rid of the mold and the metals and the chemicals, the gut will start to heal and repair on its own. This is why I encourage you to put BioOne to the test and retest the GI markers after they have done 10 months of detox before you even start a gut repair protocol, just so that you can see for yourself how well it works. You're also going to be fighting immune dysregulation. So you're going to be giving them, rounds of whatever, several different supplements to address the immune dysregulation with the, oftentimes combined inflammation and other symptomology that they have. So you're having to stack a ton of supplements. And again, it's going to drive non-compliance, because these people are not going to be able to do that for any sustained amount of time. And then, the barrier failure. You're never going to be able to heal the gut lining when it's full of mold, biofilm, and other chemicals and toxins that are constantly destroying it. You're never going to get full healing. So my recommendation and my invitation to you is to add another test and stop stacking all of the supplements for all of the array of symptomology that is coming as a result of what's really going on deeper under the hood. Sequence really does matter. You always want to remove toxic exposures and stabilize drainage pathways before attempting heavy gut repair protocols, unless they are coming into you and they are in a really bad place with their GI. Then we want to stabilize the GI. And once we get it stable, then we can start the detoxification. And if we need to, we can keep them on a couple of additional supplements to keep the GI stabilized while we're working on detoxification. And then we want to focus on environmental literacy and targeted supplementation to create long-term health success. So, it's really important to educate them on what's going on in our environment. I just spoke at an international functional medicine conference in Puerto Vallarta about a week ago, and this was a huge topic about the education. So it's a really, really big deal to educate them, because once they get rid of the toxins, it's not a forever thing. You're going to want to have them retest their toxins, their blood work, and if they're female, their hormones every year as a part of their wellness program. And if they're on a budget, have them retest their toxins every other year. I guarantee you there's going to be things that pop up. It's just impossible for us to keep our toxic exposures down. And the problem is that we end up having a bioaccumulation of toxin exposures because our systems are not designed to naturally eliminate the majority of the toxins that we are encountered with. And if you have any questions on BioOne Sciences, please reach out to bio1sciences.com, or you can reach out at support@bio1sciences.com. I also wanted to mention that BioOne Sciences is available on the Get Healthy platform, so you can add BioOne Sciences to your store. We even have our protocols month 1 through 12 already bundled together, and you can talk with the Get Healthy store about adding those bundles to your website so that it's super easy plug and play. You don't have to write down every supplement for them every month. Now we're moving into month 2, now we're moving into month 3, this is how you take it. It's already done for you, so we've made it really easy plug and play. And then in addition, let me just grab this for you, and I want to show you what we have that makes it super easy for practitioners. We have a plug and play workbook that you, the practitioner, can use this as if you were the professor, and your students also, each one of your students gets a workbook, and you can order it. You can have this uploaded onto your Modern Holistic Health store as well. It gives them month by month education. It has a section for them to fill out to remind them of why they're doing this with you, and to uncover any unconscious barriers to healing that might be there that you may not be trained in asking those types of questions. It's in here. So every time that you have a visit with them, they can come in and you can go over their answers with them. It also talks about things like letting go of the past, because this is your time to heal, what to expect in their healing process, teaching them that healing is not linear, right? Because that's really important. So like everything that you have wanted to or tried to make educational pamphlets for, or all the things that they email in or call into your front office having problems with, Herxheimer's or whatever, literally everything is in here, from how to deal with their Herxheimer, and then explaining to them what biofilm is, explaining to them how mold accumulates in the body. Every single step is in here, because the protocols is easy. We could do a 2-pager on protocols, but all the questions that they're going to ask, all the things that you're tired of repeating month after month, year after year with hundreds of patients, everything is in here, and it's done for you, all the way through even showing case studies to keep them inspired, to explain to them what the patient came in with, what their symptoms were, and then what their labs look like when they retested after 6 months, and then again after 10 months. And so just a lot of inspiration, a lot of education, and it's all done for you. And the workbook refers them very consistently back to their BioOne Sciences practitioner, which is you. It also even reminds them, in case your staff forgets that it's time to retest at month 6, this is going to sell them on why they need to retest for month 6, and getting them excited, and even teaching them how to interpret their results and what it means if a toxin hasn't come down as much as they expected, which is the 30%. It does everything in here. So it's teaching you, but it's also teaching them, and it's keeping them on track with you, their practitioner. So anyways, I think I'm done. What else did I miss? Do we want to hit on anything else?
Well, yeah, there's a few questions that came in, so I was going to ask. Well, first, I'm going to make a few comments. I think it was fascinating that, your GI activation doesn't have the L-glutamine, because it's almost impossible to find a formula without it that's a GI repair formula in the industry. And I deal with cancer a lot. That I have a whole program that deals with cancer, and glutamine to cancer is a building block, so you can't use it in protocols for cancer patients. So now I have a formula. So thank you, and I'll be telling all my integrative oncologists about it as well. They'll be thrilled to hear that. So I just wanted to say
Oh, that's awesome.
I appreciate it.
Thank
Uh,
you.
the MCM, can you just touch on that a bit? A question about you had mentioned it's a binder, but it does not have to be taken away from food. So just clarifying, I think that was just a clarification question.
On what is acting as the binder?
Well, no, just that, most binders, as you said, have to be taken away 45 minutes away from food, supplements, all the things. So I think it was a clarification of you can take it at any time. Is that correct?
Absolutely. You can take it at any time with or without food.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I just want to show you something here really quick. Tell me, Tracy, if you can see this.
All right. Yes.
Okay. So this literally takes the place. Can you see those ingredients?
Yep. If you
Okay.
click on it, maybe it blows up a little bit, but it's fine just like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's getting,
yeah,
yeah,
it's one of those magnifiers. No, it's fine.
too big. So this, if you look at it, Tracy, which for those who maybe can't see this on the screen, you want to verify for me that this is replacing at least 5 different bottles of supplements, if not 7.
Yeah. Good
The
call.
the dosing on here is pretty phenomenal. The dosing in 6 capsules, so 2 in the morning, 2 at noon, 2 in the evening is typically how I dose it out. NAC is 950 milligrams. Um,
Wow.
the citrus pectin is 900 milligrams. A bottle of citrus pectin can be $100.
Mhm.
Just a bottle of citrus pectin, and we used to stack NAC. We used to stack citrus pectin, and then we were stacking the chlorella on top of it. And then I found a supplement that had acetyl L-carnitine and alpha lipoic acid in it. So we were stacking that. It's got a very, very small amount of L-glutamine, not enough that would typically cause an issue. Now, I don't know about cancer patients, but it doesn't have enough that'll typically cause an issue with it with a genetic like
Yeah.
SNP.
Well, most of the gut formulas have what, 5,000 milligrams of
Yeah,
L-glutamine? Most of them, yeah. So it's 5 grams. That's a lot. So this
yeah.
is really nothing. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And if you click here, which I don't know if you saw that, but if you look at the when you're on the website and you're looking at the supplement formula, there is a description here, but if you want to look at the product education, you can click right here and
Mhm.
it'll take you to this and it
Mhm.
explains to you what each of the ingredients does because some of us may know about some of the benefits of some of the ingredients, but we may not be aware of um, the benefits of the multiple different things that it can do. So, for example, citrus pectin has it's an excellent binder. A lot of us know that, but many of us don't know that it's a great heavy metal chelator and that it's a biofilm protector. It can
Yeah.
reduce biofilm formation. I didn't know that for a while, right? Like many years ago, I didn't know that. I knew that citrus pectin was a binder. And that's what every time I thought of citrus pectin, I thought of citrus pectin as a binder. I didn't realize that it was doing all of those things. Chlorella, a lot of people recognize that it's really great for mitochondrial and cellular support. But did you also know that it supports the gut microbiome and it also is a biofilm buster? Super important. Like I didn't know all of that, a decade ago. I didn't know that. But and so when we look at the synergy of the ingredients and really understand what it does, right? We can see how no wonder people are feeling good when they're doing this protocol. Like they're feeling good because it's not just detoxing them, it's giving them support and regeneration too,
Absolutely. Now,
right? And so
the
yeah,
high volume of citrus pectin in there is great.
it's
Um,
awesome.
it blocks galactin-3, which is huge in breast cancer. That's why they use it. So
Hmm.
really cool formula.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I love the product tech sheets because it does. It's, you have a lot of comprehensive formulas. They're called what they're called, but I think a lot of practitioners don't take the time to understand the synergy of the raw ingredients that are in there. And even if they do, they don't understand all of it. So offering those tech sheets just gives us more education and validity to be able to explain it, not only to patients and clients, but also our colleagues as to why we choose a brand over another one. So that's brilliant. The question on the Chinese skull cap that you had mentioned in the X microbe, you had mentioned that it can work like a low dose naltrexone. Would that be beneficial in somebody that has mast cell or somebody that has histamine issues? Could they utilize that formula?
Yes, absolutely. And you would want to try it at like a dose of like 1 to 2 a day. Maybe start out even like higher, maybe 3 a day, and then after a week back them down to two, just following up to see how they're doing, and then eventually bringing them back down to one. And what we did was we actually have, I don't know if we have it. I'm going to share this here with you again.
Mhm.
Um, Here is our spec sheet, or on the supplements, on the supplement facts for X microbe. You can see it's got a high dose of andrographis. It's got a therapeutic dose of black walnut. This got everything is therapeutic dose, so I'll refrain from saying that for every single thing here. It's got the Chinese skullcap, black cumin, grapefruit seed, garlic, olive leaf, pau d'arco, sweet wormwood, and nattokinase.
Nice.
And so if you look at the product education, I believe if I don't have it in here, oh yeah, here it is, the recommended use. Remember I told you you could use it at different doses for different indications. So acute infection, 2 capsules 3 times daily. And we can go longer than 14 days, but we put it in here. We want, the practitioners to be well educated, because we
Yeah.
have had practitioners in the past putting them on this for like 6 months. And just like with any antimicrobial, you need to pulse it or you need to stop it and then interchange with something else if you haven't gotten rid of the infection inside of like 3 months, right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to be using it for an acute infection and you're using it for 3 months, you want to pulse the dose. Um, but for chronic infection recovery, you could take it differently. And then for preventive or immune maintenance, or like if you're going to use it in place of LDN, you could take 1 to 2 capsules a day, and you can front load it for a week or two and then bring the dose down, and, following up to see how they're doing.
Yeah. And you would suggest pulsing on that as well.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And they may not need it after a while.
Right.
And then here I've got even the references for its potential applications for andrographis and nattokinase, and all the different things, because a lot of this stuff, like a lot of people, know that nattokinase has cardiovascular benefits, right? But they don't know that it also breaks down biofilm
Okay.
and
Awesome.
fibrin, right? So it's like a lot of these things have multiple, they're doing multiple things, but they're coming at it from a different perspective. And
Right.
so you actually have, when you put these things together, you have a super potent, super powerful formulation that is providing like mega dose of support to give these people relief from their symptomology. So
Yeah.
it's not just an antimicrobial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes that it can be repurposed, just like we've seen in the industry for lots of medications, right?
Yeah.
So, what testing do you like for your environmental toxins?
Well, there are, I would say all of the labs out there do a pretty good job at that. You have Mosaic that does their own version of it. Vibrant does their own version of it, and then US Biotech is one that we've started using, and we really like it. We like their reports, the way that they're doing their reports, and we really love that their price point is lower than Vibrant. We want to take care of our patients, right? And Vibrant keeps going up and up in their pricing. And we, US Biotech heard me speak, and they came up to us and talked to us, and we started looking into their stuff and so we've actually, we are using them a lot now. And I like their pricing. Their pricing is really good. And if you decide to get an account with them, please tell them that you heard about them through me. I would really appreciate that. Because when I do host a conference and I ask them to come and sponsor our conference, which will be to teach you guys, right? I want them to throw down some money and sponsor our conference and help us pay for that, because these conferences are super expensive. And when you tell them that I sent you, like, that means a lot to me. I really appreciate that.
Well, we certainly will. And thank you for coming on tonight and telling us about your formulas. It's why I love hosting these because I get to learn all about the brands and I always pick something up. I always find I'm like, oh, I can use that. So tonight I found a new GI formula. So I'm super excited and I love the MCM just simply of the simplicity of it and all the things that it does. I hope you guys found this extremely beneficial. I know I did. Dr. Elena, you are a wealth of knowledge and we certainly appreciate all of your efforts in the industry to make it easier for our patients and clients to be compliant and to have great results at an affordable price, which, you don't always get those three. So we really appreciate all the effort if you put behind BioOne Sciences. So guys, if you like this brand, make sure you add it to your Get Healthy store. You can do that in the catalog area in the clinical admin. Please go visit the website, BioOne Sciences, sign up for a wholesale account so you get access to all their education. And you know us, we got to try it. So I would suggest getting on a few of the formulas as well and giving it a try so that you have real application for your clinic and for your patients. So, Dr. Elena, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for spending time with us.
Amazing. Thank you.